30 to 7. Tonight, the breaking news here, U.S. embassies and consulates under attack, Americans stranded tonight. The attack on Iran and the retaliation now widening, U.S. embassies and consulates targeted. A drone coming down near the U.S. consulate in Dubai, exploding into flames. 2 drones hitting the U.S. embassy in Saudi Arabia. Tonight, the Americans stranded, Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying they're preparing charter flights, military flights, land routes to get to other countries to try to get Americans out. The president is asked today, was there not a plan to get Americans out? And after that Iranian strike on a U.S. tactical operations center in Kuwait, ABC News Tonight learning U.S. service members did not have adequate defenses. 6 U.S. service members dead. And after 3 American F-15 fighter jets were shot down over Kuwait by friendly fire, one of them seen spiraling to the ground. Remarkable video tonight circulating online showing the tense moments as locals confront one of the downed American pilots. One man approaching with a pipe, the pilot's parachute still attached. Ian Panel standing by live in the region. Tonight, at least 11 countries now involved in this conflict, all trying to intercept incoming strikes from Iran. Will the U.S. interceptors they're using last? James Longman in Iraq tonight. At the White House, President Trump is asked to clarify his administration's evolving explanations as to why the U.S. attacked Iran and now. The president appearing to contradict what Secretary of State Marco Rubio suggested just 24 hours ago. Tonight, the stock market plunging, oil and gas prices rising, with Iran essentially shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, where so much of the world's oil passes through. Also tonight here, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem grilled on Capitol Hill after the deadly scenes in Minneapolis, the fireworks today on the Hill. The guilty verdict tonight in the trial of a father whose son is accused in a deadly mass shooting at school. The jury deciding he was criminally responsible after getting his son an AR-15 style rifle, despite warnings from authorities. The stunning moment tonight, the shooting, a deputy whose life is saved by his own body camera, blocking a bullet to the heart. The plane crashing into the Hudson River right outside New York City.
We're going into the Hudson River. I don't think we're going to make the airport.
How they survive this. And the dramatic video tonight about jumping across a highway median. Authorities on how this happened.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We begin tonight here with the breaking news in the war in Iran. Tonight, U.S. embassies and consulates coming under attack and Americans stranded across the region. Late today, a drone strike reported near the U.S. consulate in Dubai. The drone coming down in a parking lot, fire breaking out. Just hours earlier, 2 drones hitting the U.S. embassy in Saudi Arabia. At least 6 embassies in the region now closed tonight. And this evening, 24 hours after the State Department urged all Americans to leave the Middle East, Secretary of State Marco Rubio late today saying they're now preparing military flights, charter flights, even coming up with land routes for Americans to try to get to other countries to try to get out. And tonight, with Iran essentially shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, where so much of the world's oil passes through, President Trump is now saying he will call on the U.S. Navy to escort ships through if necessary. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Panel leading us off from the region again tonight.
Tonight, U.S. embassies and consulates under attack from Iran, with U.S. citizens trapped in the war-torn region. The State Department now scrambling to secure military aircraft and charter planes to get them out, after telling Americans in 14 countries to evacuate. Tonight, video verified by ABC News shows an Iranian drone slamming into the U.S. consulate in Dubai. The explosion and fire in a parking lot next to the consulate. The U.S. Embassy in Amman, Jordan, also targeted. And drone strikes shutting down the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Officials say so far no one's been injured in these strikes. And tonight, with Americans stranded across the Middle East, our Karen Travers asking President Trump, was there not a plan for this before attacking Iran?
Commercial air travel right now is severely restricted in the Middle East, and thousands of Americans are stranded. Why wasn't there an evacuation plan, and will you send planes to get people out?
Well, because it happened all very quickly.
Late today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the plan to get Americans out.
And it'll be a variety of methods: charter flights, military flights and transports, expanded commercial opportunities, and in some cases land routes that will allow them to go to neighboring countries who might have open airports at that point.
Tonight, the president saying he was, quote, surprised by the scope of Iran's retaliation across the region, even though Iran had clearly warned how it would respond.
I was surprised. I think it, and now those countries are all fighting against them and fighting strongly against them.
Tonight, Iran effectively shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil flows, sending oil and gas prices up already. Tonight, President Trump saying, if necessary, the US Navy will provide escorts for ships in the Strait of Hormuz. As US and Israel launching another wave of strikes on Iran. More than 700 Iranians killed, according to the Red Crescent. Today, there was a mass burial for the victims of the school attack, which left more than 160 dead. The Pentagon yet to explain what happened. And Israel saying it struck an area in Qom where Iran's Interim Leadership Council was meeting to appoint a new supreme leader. Tonight, verified videos online showing the area where those meetings were allegedly being held, reduced to rubble, but Iran denying they were meeting there. Trump asked who'll lead Iran next.
Most of the people we had in mind are dead. So, you know, we had some in mind from that group that is dead. And now we have another group, they may be dead also, based on reports.
The president was asked what the worst case would be for Iran's next leader.
The worst case would be we do this and then somebody takes over who's as bad as the previous person, right? That could happen.
Tonight, the Pentagon identifying 4 of the 6 service members killed after that Iranian strike in Kuwait on a US tactical operations center. US officials tell ABC News that facility did not have adequate defenses, making them vulnerable to aerial attacks. And after 3 US F-15 fighter jets were shot down over Kuwait by friendly fire, one of them seen spiraling to the ground. Remarkable video, verified by ABC News circulating online, shows the tense moments as locals confront one of the downed American pilots, approaching one with a pipe. His parachute still attached. That pilot putting his hands up and kneeling, before the men realized he was an American.
You're safe, you're safe.
And this video showing Kuwaitis finding another one of those pilots.
Thank you for helping us.
After she's safely ejected too. David, amid this scramble to get Americans out, the State Department telling people to call a hotline. When you dial the number, an automated message saying, do not rely on the US government for evacuation at this time. David?
Wow, there is an intense scramble tonight across the Middle East to try to get these Americans out, Ian. Thank you. Meantime, tonight there are at least 11 countries now involved in this conflict, all trying to intercept incoming strikes from Iran. And tonight the concern, will the supply of U.S. interceptors that these countries are using to block these missiles and drones last? James Longman from Iraq tonight.
The growing race tonight to destroy missile launchers positioned deep inside Iran as they continue their barrage of retaliatory strikes across the Middle East. Gulf nations are working night and day using advanced US air defenses to strike the danger from the sky.
But the deepening concern, will there be enough US interceptors?
And could Iran's supply of cheap drones exhaust these multi-million-dollar systems, drone and missiles already causing chaos from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain to Kuwait, US embassies and troops in the firing line. The UAE says it has been targeted by at least 174 ballistic missiles, as well as several hundred drones. Military officials say it takes 2 or 3 interceptors to shoot down just one ballistic missile, and experts predict Iran has a stockpile of more than 2,000.
They're still lobbing some missiles. At some point, they won't even be able to do that because we're hitting all of their carriers, we're hitting all of their missile stock.
Some rockets penetrating the defences beyond the firing line. A UK base in Cyprus attacked. Meanwhile, the war is now expanding to a second front. Israeli troops moving into southern Lebanon, targeting the Iranian-backed proxy Hezbollah. Our Matt Rivers is there, landing in Beirut amid several airstrikes.
So you can hear that's the latest Israeli airstrike. And another. You can see the smoke coming there behind me.
Americans living in Beirut, like many across this region, now forced to wait it out in an increasingly dangerous combat zone.
And here in Iraq, we have been hearing booms overhead. That's Iranian proxies targeting US bases. Some 70 drones and missiles in all, and we are hearing reports of a UN facility being hit tonight. David?
James Longman live from Iraq tonight. Our thanks to you and to Matt Rivers, who was in Lebanon for us. Thanks to you both. In the Oval Office today, President Trump was asked to clarify his administration's evolving explanations about why the U.S. attacked Iran and now. You'll hear what the president said, appearing to contradict what Secretary of State Marco Rubio suggested just 24 hours ago. Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, the White House pressed to clarify its shifting explanations for why the U.S. went to war with Iran. 24 hours ago, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the administration believed Israel was going to attack Iran first and was concerned Iran would then retaliate against the U.S.
There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us. And we were not going to sit there and absorb a blow before we responded.
Rubio's words setting off a firestorm.
I find it very disturbing that we're committing this nation to war based upon a decision by even though a staunch ally, and I'm a supporter of Israel, but I don't think anybody should drive our decision to go to war, but the interests of the United States.
Today, when I asked the president about it, he contradicted Rubio.
Mr. President, did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand.
Late tonight, Rubio was asked to explain what he said 24 hours ago.
The president determined we were not going to get hit first. It's that simple, guys.
It comes amid growing concern from some of the president's core supporters that he took the United States to war after long promising he would not. This is what he said during the 2024 campaign.
She said, look at him, listen to him. He's going to start a war. Listen to his rhetoric. He's going to start a war. I said, no, no, no. My rhetoric is going to keep us out of wars.
Tonight, the administration is undeterred. Senior administration officials insist this campaign will continue, but it is clear tonight, David, there is concern for Americans that are still in that region, David.
Rachel Scott live at the White House. Rachel, thank you. Amid this war with Iran, the Strait of Hormuz essentially shut down, where 20% of the world's oil passes through. Tonight, the stock market plunging, oil and gas prices already up. The Dow plunging more than 1,200 points today before clawing back some of its losses. Ending the day down, you can see there, 403 points. The Nasdaq dropping 232 points, the S&P 500 down 2. Tonight, it's already affecting gas prices, and economists say American consumers can't get a break, saying this will go beyond prices at the pump. Here's Elizabeth Schulze.
Tonight, growing fears of prolonged war sending the stock market tumbling and oil prices surging. The Strait of Hormuz shut down. 20% of the world's oil comes through that strait. In just the last 2 days, the national average for a gallon of gas soaring 20 cents to $3.13, wiping out the drop in gas prices since President Trump returned to office. Tonight, the president acknowledging Americans could see higher prices.
If we have a little high oil prices for a little while, but as soon as this ends, those prices are going to drop, I believe, lower than even before.
Drivers already worried.
You're scared that the prices will just skyrocket.
Analysts warn higher energy prices will ripple across the economy.
The consumer can't catch a break, so you're going to see it in food prices, you're going to see it in airfares. Overall inflation is going to perk up a little bit over the next couple of months.
David, Gas Buddy says if there is not de-escalation in this war, the national average for a gallon of gas could go up another 25 cents in the next 2 weeks. David.
Elizabeth Schulze tonight. Elizabeth, thanks. Now the fireworks on Capitol Hill tonight after the deadly scenes in Minneapolis and immigration raids across this country. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was grilled by Democrats and Republicans. Here's Pierre Thomas tonight.
Tonight, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem under political attack, grilled over her agency's aggressive deportation policies and the deaths of American citizens Alex Preddy and Renee Good, who were killed by federal immigration officers. Republican Senator Tom Tillis, who has called for Noem to resign, was relentless.
And what we've seen is a disaster. Under your leadership, Ms. Noem, a disaster. What we've seen is innocent people getting detained that turn out are American citizens.
But many Senate Republicans defending DHS immigration tactics.
These men and women who are trying to solve this problem that was created by our Democratic colleagues, you have no idea of the mess they inherited.
And Noam was blunt, saying her job is to deport the millions of undocumented here illegally.
I'm blessed and honored that President Trump has asked me to do this job.
Democrats pushed Noam to apologize for what critics said were misleading statements and suggesting that both Preddy and Good were domestic terrorists.
Let me give you an opportunity to do the right thing.
Noam did not apologize, but offered her condolences.
When we have these situations happen, we always offer our condolences to those families, and I offer mine as well.
She was also asked about the media campaign that cost taxpayers $220 million that often stars Noam herself.
We will find you, and we will deport you.
Republican Senator John Kennedy.
How do you square that concern for waste, which I share?
The president tasked me with getting the message out to the country and to other countries where we were seeing the invasion come from.
David, all the bickering comes with Homeland Security facing a budget shutdown and the nation in a war with Iran.
David? Pierre Thomas here. Pierre, thanks. Now to the guilty verdict tonight in the trial of a father whose son is accused in a deadly mass shooting at school. The jury decided the father was criminally responsible after getting his son an AR-15 style rifle despite warnings from authorities. Here's Steve Osunsami.
It took a jury deep in the heart of gun country less than 2 hours to hold this Georgia father responsible after police say that his son murdered 2 students and 2 teachers at this suburban Atlanta high school in 2024. The teenager is seen here in surveillance videos before the shooting, getting on a school bus, and here at Appalachia High School hiding an AR-15 style rifle that his father had given him for Christmas under a poster board.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
Tonight, 55-year-old Colin Gray is facing more than 100 years in prison, convicted of second-degree murder and more than 24 other charges.
Sorry, boys.
Jurors agreed that he ignored signs that his son could kill, giving him the gun even after authorities are seen here warning him that his teenager was accused of making threats against another school. And the father had seen this on his son's bedroom wall, what prosecutors say was a shrine to the Parkland, Florida school shooter.
This was multiple warnings over a lengthy period of time.
Tonight, prosecutors are saying that this conviction should be a strong warning for parents everywhere. The son is now awaiting trial. David?
All right, Steve, thank you. When we come back, a lot more news ahead tonight. The incredible life-saving moment for a deputy. Take a look. The deputy's body camera actually stopping a bullet from his heart. Also, the plane crash landing out of the icy Hudson River outside New York City, what they told air traffic control. And look at this tonight, the boat jumping over the median on a busy highway. How this even happened and who they're looking for tonight. We'll be right back. Tonight, authorities say a deputy's body camera stopping a bullet from piercing his heart. Another deputy's body camera actually capturing the moment in Deltona, Florida. A man opening his front door and firing, striking Deputy Jose Rivera twice. A third bullet was stopped by that body camera before it struck his heart. The sheriff showing the mangled body camera saying it, quote, absolutely saved Rivera's life, a full recovery expected. Tonight, the plane making an emergency landing in the icy waters of the Hudson River just north of New York City. The plane crashing down with an instructor and student pilot on board, contacting air traffic control at Stewart Airport.
Yeah, we're going to go into the Hudson. Say that again, please. We're going into the Hudson River. I don't think we're going to make the airport.
The 2 on board able to get out and then swim ashore. Both are okay tonight. New York's Governor Kathy Hochul tonight calling it another miracle on the Hudson. Quite something. When we come back here tonight, the Major League Baseball player hit with a massive suspension. This just in tonight in a moment. To the index of other news tonight, dramatic video of a boat on a busy highway jumping the highway median. Take a look, the boat crossing several lanes of traffic here, then jumping that divider without slamming into any of the traffic. It happened on State Route 91 in Los Angeles County. Officials say the boat separated from a U-Haul trailer. They are looking tonight for that U-Haul driver who did not stop. Just in tonight here, Atlanta Braves designated hitter Jurickson Profar facing a massive 162-game suspension. Sources tell ESPN tonight Profar tested positive for a performance-enhancing drug for the second time in the past year. He could also forfeit his $15 million salary. Profar reportedly plans to file a grievance. When we come back tonight from New York City to Tulsa, Oklahoma tonight, the remarkable images coming in. You've got to see them. Tonight, here are the spectacular images of that rare blood moon. In New York City, people gathering to see it on an observation deck. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, the moon setting over this church. Wow. In Los Angeles, this time-lapse image. A total lunar eclipse responsible, of course, for that deep reddish-orange color. Stunning. I'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.